you will never be respected unless you remove these 6 habits from your life. Stoic philosophy. Welcome back to Stoic in Your Life, where we dive deep into the philosophy of Stoicism to help you live a life of purpose, strength, and wisdom. Today, we're going to address a hard truth. Respect is something you have to earn, and it starts with removing habits that are quietly sabotaging your life. You see, many people spend their whole lives chasing respect from others, bending over backward to please everyone, yet they never quite get it. Why? Because respect isn't about how much you do for others. It's about the habits you live by every single day. Now, I'm going to be brutally honest here. If you're holding on to these 6 toxic habits, it doesn't matter how much you try to improve, you won't be respected by others, or more importantly, by yourself. You can work tirelessly, you can be generous, you can be agreeable, but if these behaviors linger in your life, they'll always drag you down. In this video, we're going to break down these 6 habits that you might not even realize are affecting your life. But trust me, if you want to be truly respected, both by yourself and by others, you need to get rid of these behaviors once and for all. It's not going to be easy, but the path to earning respect always starts with tough decisions and discipline. So, are you ready to take control of your life and become the person who commands respect through action and mindset? Let's get started. Habit number 1, always making excuses. If you seek tranquility, do less. Or more accurately, do what's essential. Marcus Aurelius. Respect, as we all know, isn't something given freely. It's earned through consistency, accountability, and actions that demonstrate your integrity. But here's the harsh truth. There are some habits that will keep respect perpetually out of your reach. And the first one we need to address is the habit of always making excuses. Let me tell you, if you're stuck in the habit of making excuses, you're sabotaging yourself from ever being respected by others, or even yourself. The moment you start making excuses, you stop taking control of your life. Whether you're late to a meeting and blame it on traffic, or you don't finish a project because your coworker didn't get you the information on time, you're not being accountable. And here's the reality. No one cares about your excuses. People respect results, not reasons. Think about it. When was the last time you admired someone because they had a great excuse for why they failed to deliver? Exactly. Respect is earned when people see that you are reliable and that you can deliver despite the challenges that come your way. I've been there. I used to be the king of excuses. I would blame external circumstances, traffic, someone else's mistake, or simply, life happens. I figured as long as I had a valid reason, people would understand. But over time, I started noticing that people saw me as unreliable. I lost out on opportunities at work, friends stopped depending on me, and my family began subtly distancing themselves. I couldn't understand why. It wasn't until someone bluntly told me, "Why didn't you just leave earlier?" that I realized excuses weren't protecting me. They were undermining me. Each excuse I made was a small step toward losing the respect of those around me. Excuses don't make you look responsible. They make you look like someone who can't handle their own life. The world doesn't care about why you didn't succeed. It only cares whether you did or not. As hard as that sounds, it's a liberating truth. Because once you realize that nobody owes you understanding or leniency, you start to take control of your life. You stop blaming the world and start owning your actions. That's when things change. Respect comes from showing that you're in control of yourself, that you're accountable, and that you take responsibility for what happens in your life. It's not about avoiding mistakes. It's about owning them when they happen. Consider this. Every time you make an excuse, you're effectively saying, "I'm not in control of my life." And if you don't believe you're in control, why should anyone else believe in you? This is the heart of the matter. Respect is not just something others give you, it's something you give yourself by being responsible, accountable, and disciplined. You can't expect others to respect you if you're constantly handing out excuses, because excuses are just a form of avoiding the truth. You can't build respect on a foundation of avoidance. Now, think about modern life. We're surrounded by reasons to make excuses. Our jobs are demanding, traffic is terrible, family commitments can be overwhelming. But successful people, respected people, don't let those things define them. They find a way to rise above it. They own their mistakes and their circumstances, rather than letting those circumstances control them. The next time you're tempted to blame the traffic, the weather, or your coworker for something going wrong, pause. Ask yourself, is this excuse really going to help me gain respect, or is it just protecting me from facing the truth? One of the hardest things to accept is that you can't control everything, but you can always control how you respond. And that's the essence of Stoicism, focusing on what you can control and letting go of the rest. Making excuses is the opposite of that. It's trying to control the uncontrollable by shifting blame. But here's a powerful truth. When you stop making excuses, you regain control of your life. You become the kind of person who commands respect, not because you're perfect, but because you're honest about your imperfections and you're willing to do something about them. As Epictetus wisely said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. You can't always control what happens, but you can control whether you take responsibility or make excuses. And people respect those who take responsibility. They respect those who, instead of complaining about the rain, bring an umbrella. They respect those who, when they're late, don't spin a story, but simply say, I should have planned better. Ultimately, it's about being reliable, both to others and to yourself. If you want to be respected, you have to stop lying to yourself before you can expect others to trust you. Every excuse you make is a small betrayal of your own potential, and the world can see it. But when you own up to your mistakes and take responsibility for your actions, even if you fail, people will respect you for it. More importantly, you'll respect yourself. And that's where true respect begins, with self-respect. So the next time you're about to make an excuse, stop. Ask yourself, am I taking responsibility here? Am I owning my life? Or am I blaming circumstances? The path to respect is not easy, but it's simple. Take control, own your actions, and don't let excuses stand in your way. In doing so, you'll not only earn the respect of others, but more importantly, you'll earn the respect of the person who matters most, you. Habit number 2, being lazy. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Seneca. Now let me be brutally honest. If laziness is a part of your life, don't expect respect from others, and truthfully, you won't deserve it. It might sound harsh, but the reality is that no one respects potential alone. They respect action. You can have all the dreams and talent in the world, but if you're sitting back, doing nothing, you're wasting it all. Think about it. When was the last time you admired someone simply because they had potential? People respect those who show up, put in the effort, and make things happen. Laziness, on the other hand, is the clearest sign of wasted opportunity, and it's visible to everyone around you. I used to be one of those people who believed I could slide by on my natural abilities. I was smart, capable, and I knew I could get decent results even without giving my best effort. For a while, that worked, or so I thought. But here's what I missed. No one actually respected me for it. Sure, they might say, oh, he's talented. But deep down, they knew I wasn't living up to my potential. Why? Because laziness isn't just about a lack of ability. It's about a lack of effort. And it's effort, not just talent, that earns respect. I remember a specific incident that really opened my eyes. I was part of a group project, and while everyone else was pulling their weight, putting in the work, I figured I could contribute the bare minimum and still get by. I assumed my smarts would carry me through, but when we presented, it was obvious who had put in the effort, and it wasn't me. The looks of subtle disappointment from my teammates hit me hard. They were no longer looking at me as someone capable or reliable. I hadn't just let them down. I had let myself down. That's the thing about laziness. It's not just about what you do. It's about how you make others feel. People notice when you're not contributing, and they lose respect for you because laziness is, at its core, a form of self-sabotage. You might think no one notices when you slack off, but they do. People can tell when you're coasting, when you're not giving your best, and when you're cutting corners. Laziness is one of the most visible traits because it reflects in everything you do. It's in your posture, your tone, and the way you approach challenges. And here's the kicker. Laziness is contagious. When you're not pulling your weight, it drags others down. People stop expecting much from you, and once expectations are low, respect is gone. If people don't expect you to work hard, take responsibility, or rise to the occasion, they stop seeing you as someone valuable. Let me share another story. In my earlier years, I worked with someone who was the epitome of effort. They weren't the most talented person in the room, but they were always the one working the hardest. They never took shortcuts, never avoided the hard tasks, and always showed up, even on days when they clearly didn't feel like it. And you know what? Everyone respected them. Not because they were the smartest or the most talented, but because they had grit. They showed that respect is earned through consistent effort, not just flashes of brilliance. Contrast that with another colleague who was incredibly talented but always looking for the easy way out. They did just enough to get by, never went the extra mile, and always had an excuse for why they couldn't do more. Over time, people stopped relying on them. They weren't given leadership opportunities or trusted with important responsibilities. Why? Because talent without effort is meaningless. It's the ones who show persistence, who take on the hard challenges, and who keep pushing forward that earn the respect of others. This brings us to a critical point. Laziness is a mindset. It's not just about being tired or unmotivated. It's about convincing yourself that you can coast, that you don't need to push yourself because you're talented enough to get by. But that's a lie. Every time you choose laziness, you're choosing to stay small. You're choosing comfort over growth. And people respect growth. They respect those who push past their limits and show that they're willing to put in the effort, no matter how talented they are. Think about modern life. We live in a world where distractions are everywhere. It's easy to get comfortable, to avoid hard work, and to settle for less than what we're capable of. But the people who succeed, the ones who are respected, are those who resist the temptation of laziness. They're the ones who put in the work, even when it's hard, even when they don't feel like it. They understand that success isn't about being the smartest person in the room. It's about being the hardest working. As Epictetus said, no great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer you that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen. Success and respect take time and effort. So ask yourself, are you putting in the work? Are you pushing yourself? Or are you coasting on your natural abilities? The truth is, people can tell. They can see when you're not giving your best, and they will treat you accordingly. If you're lazy, don't expect to be trusted with big responsibilities. Don't expect people to see you as a leader. Respect is earned through action, through effort, and through a willingness to push beyond what's comfortable. Here's the lesson. If you want to be respected, you need to stop being lazy. You need to show up, take on the challenges, and put in the work. It's not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. You can't hide laziness. It will always show. But the good news is, you can choose to break free from it. You can decide right now that you're going to put in the effort, that you're going to push yourself, and that you're going to earn the respect you deserve. Habit number 3, neglecting your personal appearance. Care for your mind and body. They are the vessels through which you experience life. Marcus Aurelius. Now, let me tell you something people might not want to admit. How you present yourself says far more than you think. If you're neglecting your personal appearance, you're missing out on the respect you deserve. And here's the uncomfortable truth. People won't take you seriously if it looks like you don't take yourself seriously. I know you might be thinking, but isn't it shallow to judge someone based on their appearance? Sure, it may sound superficial, but appearance is much more than just vanity. It's about self-respect. When you put effort into how you look, it shows that you value yourself and your interactions with others. If you don't respect yourself, how can you expect anyone else to? I used to be the kind of person who didn't put much thought into appearance. I would tell myself that people should care more about who I am than what I look like, so I'd throw on whatever was lying around and go about my day. I convinced myself I was being authentic, but looking back, I was just being lazy. And you know what? It showed. People didn't take me seriously. In meetings, my ideas didn't carry much weight, and I didn't command the attention of the room. It wasn't because of my ideas or abilities, it was because I didn't present myself like someone worth listening to. There was one moment that really opened my eyes. I remember showing up to an important event wearing wrinkled clothes, my hair a mess, and looking like I hadn't put any effort into myself. The moment I walked in, I could sense the shift in how people responded to me. Their eyes passed over me. Their conversations were brief, and it was clear that I wasn't being taken seriously. It had nothing to do with my capabilities, but everything to do with the fact that I looked like someone who didn't care. Meanwhile, those who dressed well, groomed themselves, and showed up with confidence, commanded the room with ease. That experience made me realize something essential. Neglecting your personal appearance sends a message to the world that you don't respect yourself enough to put in the effort. Think about it. When you see someone who looks disheveled and unkempt, what's the first thought that comes to mind? Probably something like, this person doesn't care. And if they don't care about their appearance, you assume they won't care about other important things like their work, relationships, or responsibilities. On the other hand, when someone walks into a room looking well-groomed and put together, they immediately set a tone of respect. People naturally gravitate toward those who show effort, and in turn, they are more likely to trust and listen to them. As harsh as it might sound, first impressions matter, and those impressions are largely shaped by how you present yourself. The key message here is this. Personal appearance is a form of nonverbal communication. It tells the world, I respect myself, and I take this seriously. When you show up looking your best, it signals to others that you value yourself, and in doing so, you encourage them to value you too. It's not about wearing expensive clothes or being obsessed with looks. It's about presenting yourself in a way that shows you care. People respect those who respect themselves, and it's amazing how much of that comes through in how you look. Now, this doesn't mean you need to dress like you're walking down a runway, but it does mean taking care of the basics: clean clothes, good grooming, and attention to detail. These small acts show the world and yourself that you care. When you neglect your appearance, you're essentially telling people, I don't think I'm worth the effort. And guess what? They'll believe you. When you don't take care of yourself, people will begin to expect less of you, and that's the beginning of lost respect. There's a story that always sticks with me about a successful businessman who made a point of dressing his best every day, no matter how small the occasion. He believed that when you dress well, you perform well. One day, a younger employee asked him why he went to such lengths when the job didn't require it. The businessman replied, I don't dress well for others. I do it to remind myself that I'm worth the effort. That simple philosophy stayed with me because it illustrates how personal appearance isn't just for others. It's a reminder to yourself that you deserve to show up as your best self every single day. So let me ask you this. Are you showing up for yourself? Are you putting in the effort, not just in your work, but in how you present yourself to the world? You may not think it matters, but the truth is, people are always forming opinions based on how you carry yourself. Your appearance is a reflection of how much you respect yourself, and that sets the tone for how others will respect you. If you show up looking like you don't care, people will assume that you don't, and they'll treat you accordingly. Here's the bottom line. Neglecting your personal appearance is a form of self-sabotage. It's a signal that you don't value yourself enough to put in the effort. But when you take the time to look your best, you'll notice an immediate difference in how people respond to you. You'll command more respect, be taken more seriously, and most importantly, you'll start respecting yourself more. As Epictetus said, know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly. Respect starts from within, and when you take care of yourself, you show the world that you're worth it. So, the next time you catch yourself thinking, "It doesn't matter how I look," remember this. People are always watching. They're forming opinions about you based on how you present yourself, whether you realize it or not. Respect yourself enough to show up as the best version of yourself, and the world will follow suit. Put in the effort, and watch how people start to treat you differently. Ask yourself, are you dressing and grooming in a way that reflects the person you want to be? If not, it's time to make a change, because the respect you receive starts with how you carry yourself. Thank you for joining us in today's video. Before we move on to the next segment, I want to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude for being part of this community. It's an honor to have you with us, and I'd love to hear your personal stories or impressions. If you're unsure of what to share, don't hesitate to simply drop a comment saying, "I am a newbie" if you're new here, or "I am Stoic" if you've been with us for a while. Your engagement doesn't just show your presence, it truly inspires and motivates us to keep creating content that helps us all grow. Now let's keep moving forward on this journey together, shall we? Habit number 4, ignoring boundaries. Respect begins with the boundaries we set for ourselves and others. Marcus Aurelius. If there's one thing that will make people lose respect for you faster than anything, it's ignoring their boundaries. Boundaries are not optional, they are essential. They are the invisible lines people draw to protect their emotional, mental, and physical space, and when you disregard them, you're essentially telling people that their comfort and autonomy don't matter to you. It's like walking into someone's house uninvited. You wouldn't do that, right? Yet, when we push past someone's boundaries, it's just as intrusive. The truth is, people will never respect someone who doesn't respect their personal space, and ignoring boundaries is a surefire way to make sure that respect never materializes. I learned this lesson the hard way. I used to think that being overly involved in people's lives was a sign of caring. I thought offering unsolicited advice, constantly checking in, or being there all the time showed that I was a good friend or colleague. But here's the reality. I was suffocating them, and I didn't even realize it. Because I didn't understand or respect other people's boundaries, they didn't respect me either. There was a particular time in my life when a close friend started pulling away, and I couldn't understand why. I thought I was being helpful, constantly texting her, calling her, and inviting myself into her life, thinking that I was being supportive. But one day, she bluntly told me, "I need space. You don't understand that, and it's overwhelming." That moment hit me like a ton of bricks. I realized that I had been ignoring her boundaries, and in doing so, I had lost her trust and respect. Respecting boundaries isn't about being distant. It's about understanding that everyone has a right to control their own space and time. When you ignore someone's boundaries, what you're really saying is, "I care more about my needs than yours." And honestly, who is going to respect someone who operates like that? The truth is, boundaries are not barriers. They are the foundation of healthy relationships. When you respect someone's boundaries, you're acknowledging that they are an individual with their own needs, feelings, and limits. And when you do that, respect follows naturally. Here's a deeper insight. Ignoring boundaries is more than just being pushy. It's a failure to understand the essence of respect. Respect isn't just about being polite or kind. It's about recognizing and honoring someone's autonomy. It's about realizing that people are allowed to say no without it being a personal attack. People are allowed to need space without feeling guilty for it. It's about understanding that their world doesn't revolve around you. When you fail to respect those boundaries, you're not just crossing a line, you're sending a message that their comfort doesn't matter to you. I had to learn to step back, to give people the space they needed, and to wait until they were ready to come to me. It wasn't easy, but once I started respecting other people's boundaries, I noticed something incredible. They started respecting me more. Relationships became more genuine, conversations became deeper, and I was no longer seen as the person who couldn't take a hint. When you respect someone's boundaries, you create an environment where they feel safe, valued, and respected, and that's when real connections start to form. But let's not forget, ignoring boundaries doesn't just happen in personal relationships. It shows up in the workplace too. Perhaps you have a coworker who values working independently, but you keep bombarding them with constant updates or micromanagement. Or maybe your boss has expressed a preference for direct and concise communication, but you continue to flood them with unnecessary information, overstepping their boundaries of time and focus. In these cases, you're not just being a nuisance, you're losing respect because you're not honoring their needs or preferences. Respecting boundaries in the workplace is crucial for maintaining professionalism and fostering mutual trust. People will respect you more when you show that you understand and value their time, space, and boundaries. One of the biggest misconceptions about boundaries is that they're about keeping people out. But in reality, boundaries are about keeping relationships healthy. They allow people to maintain their individuality while still being part of a connection. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, and if you can't respect someone's boundaries, you can't expect them to respect you in return. It's a two-way street. Boundaries are not a rejection of you, they are a reflection of someone's needs. And by honoring the limits others set, you're showing them that you value and respect who they are as a person. So let me ask you this. Are you respecting the boundaries of the people in your life? Or are you pushing too hard, overstepping lines, and making it all about your needs? Respect isn't just about being nice. It's about understanding when to step back and give people the space they need. When you honor someone's boundaries, you're telling them, I see you, I respect you, and I value you. And that, my friend, is the foundation of any strong, respectful relationship. Respecting boundaries isn't just a nice thing to do. It's essential for earning and maintaining respect in any relationship, whether it's personal or professional. It shows that you value the other person as an individual with their own needs and limits. When you respect those limits, people will respect you in return. So next time you're about to offer unsolicited advice, show up uninvited, or push for more than someone is ready to give, pause and ask yourself, am I respecting their boundaries? If the answer is no, take a step back, and remember that respect is earned by showing that you understand and honor the lines people draw. Habit number 5, taking credit for others' work. Integrity is doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. C.S. Lewis. Taking credit for someone else's work is one of the quickest ways to lose respect, not just from the person whose effort you've stolen, but from everyone who witnesses it. This habit isn't just unethical, it's self-sabotage, and it shows insecurity more than it shows confidence. People around you will quickly lose trust, and once that trust is gone, it's incredibly difficult to regain. This behavior damages your reputation because people begin to see you as someone willing to cut corners, someone who's more concerned with appearing successful than actually being competent. And the worst part? It doesn't just hurt the person you're taking advantage of, it destroys your own credibility. Let me share a story from my early career. I was eager to make a name for myself, to stand out, and in one team project I contributed a fair amount, but there was a colleague who really went the extra mile. When it came time to present the results, I subtly angled the conversation so that I appeared to be the one who had done the heavy lifting. I didn't outright lie, but I didn't go out of my way to give proper credit either. At first it felt great. I was getting the recognition and praise I craved, but the satisfaction was short-lived. People always find out the truth, and soon enough my colleague realized what I had done. Word spread, and the admiration I had enjoyed turned into doubt and disappointment. It was a painful realization that respect cannot be built on dishonesty or shortcuts. Stealing credit is a reflection of insecurity and fear. It says, I don't trust myself enough to stand on my own merits, so I need to take from others to prop myself up. And that's the exact opposite of what earns genuine respect. Respect comes from integrity, from authenticity, and from the confidence to give credit where it's due. Think about how you feel when someone takes credit for your hard work. It's frustrating and demoralizing, right? Now imagine how others feel when you do the same to them. Taking credit for someone else's efforts robs them of their sense of accomplishment. It's not just about stealing work. It's about stealing their moment of recognition, their pride in a job well done. This kind of behavior doesn't just damage personal relationships, it also affects professional ones. In the workplace, colleagues will hesitate to collaborate with you if they know you'll take all the credit for their contributions. Over time, this will isolate you, and you'll find yourself losing out on valuable partnerships and opportunities. I've seen talented people miss out on promotions or recognition because they developed a reputation for taking credit for others' work. And trust me, once you get labeled as someone who's only looking out for themselves, it's nearly impossible to shake that off. When you take credit for someone else's work, you're telling the world that your success matters more than your integrity. And here's the truth. Success achieved at the expense of others is hollow. It's not real, and it will eventually crumble. True success is built on collaboration, honesty, and the ability to lift others up along the way. When you give credit to others, it doesn't diminish your own achievements. It actually amplifies them. People respect leaders who recognize the efforts of their team, who share the spotlight, and who aren't afraid to acknowledge that they didn't do it all alone. I've also seen this principle play out in modern life, where social media often glorifies individual success stories while ignoring the teams behind them. In today's world, where everything seems to be about me, taking credit for someone else's work might seem tempting. But here's the catch. People will always find out the truth, and when they do, they'll remember it. It's far better to be known as someone who shares the glory than someone who hoards it. Ask yourself this. Are you the kind of person people can trust to acknowledge their efforts, or are you someone who's more concerned with getting ahead at any cost? It's a tough question, but an important one. Giving credit where it's due shows that you're secure in your own abilities, that you have enough confidence to lift others up without feeling threatened. People are drawn to those who can do that, because it signals strength, not weakness. So how do you fix this if you've been guilty of taking credit for others' work? Start by owning up to your mistakes. If you've taken credit where it wasn't deserved, apologize and give the recognition to those who truly earned it. It might be uncomfortable at first, but it's the only way to start rebuilding trust. Moving forward, make it a point to always acknowledge the contributions of others. It's not just a matter of fairness, it's a matter of building respect. When people see that you're willing to share credit, they'll trust you more, and that trust is the foundation of any successful relationship, whether it's in business or in life. Remember this. Respect isn't earned by pushing others down to get ahead. It's earned by lifting them up. When you give credit where it's due, you're not just showing that you're a fair person. You're showing that you're confident in yourself and that you value integrity over temporary praise. Success that comes from collaboration, honesty, and mutual respect is far more fulfilling than any shortcut. And in the long run, that's the kind of success that lasts. So next time you're tempted to take the credit, pause and think, what kind of person do you want to be known as? The one who takes shortcuts, or the one who builds real, lasting respect by being fair, honest, and generous with recognition? Habit number 6, being emotionally reactive. Anyone can become angry, that is easy. But to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way, that is not within everyone's power and is not easy. Aristotle. One of the most destructive habits that can erode respect faster than anything else is being emotionally reactive. It's not just about getting mad or upset in the heat of the moment. It's about letting your emotions control your actions, your words, and ultimately, your relationships. When people see that you can't control your emotions, they won't trust you with important responsibilities, leadership roles, or even friendship. Why? Because emotional reactivity is a signal that you're unstable, unpredictable, and frankly, immature. People who lash out in anger, break down in tears at the slightest inconvenience, or shut down when criticized, are sending the message that they can't handle life's pressures, and that's not the kind of person others want to follow or rely on. I've been there. I remember a time when I would let my emotions dictate everything. If someone upset me, I'd either lash out or sulk for hours. And if I felt criticized, I'd immediately go on the defensive, raising my voice or storming out. I thought I was standing up for myself, but looking back, all I was doing was showing everyone how little control I had over my feelings. And that's the thing. When people see you losing control, they don't see strength. They see weakness. They don't think, wow, this person is passionate. They think, this person is unstable. And the respect they might have had for you vanishes in an instant. Think about it. Who do we admire in life? The person who stays calm under pressure, who handles criticism without losing their cool, and who can deal with stress without falling apart. That's true strength. But when you're emotionally reactive, you're showing the opposite. You're telling people that your emotions, not your rational mind, are in charge. People will instinctively avoid you because they know that one wrong word or small inconvenience could set you off. They won't trust you to stay composed in a crisis, and they certainly won't respect you as someone who can handle responsibility. There's a deep truth here. Emotional reactivity isn't a sign of passion, it's a sign of insecurity. When you're quick to anger or tears, it's often because you're trying to protect something fragile inside you, whether it's your ego or a fear of being judged. But here's the harsh reality. No one respects fragility when it comes in the form of emotional overreaction. In fact, they'll start to see you as a burden, someone they need to walk on eggshells around. And let's be honest, who wants to be that person? I once worked with someone who was the epitome of emotionally reactive behavior. In meetings, if someone didn't agree with her, she'd either snap defensively or completely shut down. It was like walking on eggshells around her, and as a result, people stopped inviting her to important discussions. They didn't trust her to handle feedback, and every time she had an emotional outburst, she was burning bridges and losing respect. The sad part was she was intelligent and had a lot to offer, but her emotional instability overshadowed all of that. Being emotionally reactive makes you look weak, not strong. You might feel like you're defending yourself or showing that you care, but what you're really showing is that you lack control, and people don't respect someone who can't control themselves. Think about the last time you saw someone lose their temper, shout, or cry in public. Did you respect them in that moment, or did you feel embarrassed for them? That's the kind of reaction you provoke when you let your emotions take over. But why are we so emotionally reactive? It usually comes from a place of feeling threatened. Our ego is bruised. We feel like we're losing control, so we lash out to protect ourselves. But true power doesn't come from emotional outbursts. It comes from staying calm, collected, and composed when everything around you is falling apart. When you can maintain your composure in the face of criticism, conflict, or stress, people will see you as someone with real strength. And that's where respect comes in. The Stoics were masters of emotional control. They believed that while we can't control external events, we can always control how we respond to them. And that's the key. Your response is your power. You can choose to react emotionally, or you can choose to stay grounded. When you stay grounded, you not only earn respect, but you also gain control over the situation. Because when you're calm, you think more clearly, you make better decisions, and you don't say things you'll regret later. You don't burn bridges. You build trust and maintain your dignity. I had a moment in my own life that really drove this point home. I was in the middle of a heated argument with a close friend, and things were spiraling out of control. I could feel myself about to lose it. I wanted to yell, to defend myself, to let my emotions take over. But something in me clicked. I realized that if I let my emotions drive the conversation, I'd end up saying something I couldn't take back, and I'd ruin the friendship for good. So I stopped, took a deep breath, and calmed down. Instead of lashing out, I listened. And because I did that, we were able to have an actual conversation, resolve the issue, and walk away stronger. If I had reacted emotionally, I would have lost someone important to me. So ask yourself, how do you respond when things don't go your way? Do you let your emotions take over, or do you stay in control? The choice is always yours, and the way you choose to react will determine how much respect you earn. The next time you feel yourself getting worked up, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself if reacting emotionally will help the situation or hurt it. In most cases, staying calm and composed will earn you far more respect than any emotional outburst ever could. True strength is in controlling your emotions, not being controlled by them. And that's a lesson worth embracing, not just for the respect of others, but for your own peace of mind. If you've made it this far, you're on the path to becoming stronger and more disciplined. Drop a comment saying, "I am earning respect," to show you're committed to removing these toxic habits. Respect is one of the most powerful and enduring qualities we can cultivate. Yet it's something that cannot be demanded or forced. It must be earned through consistent actions, integrity, and how we treat ourselves and others. It is the foundation upon which all meaningful relationships, whether personal or professional, are built. When people respect you, they are acknowledging the value of your character, your discipline, and your principles. But respect is a two-way street. Before others can respect you, you must first respect yourself. Self-respect begins with understanding your worth and setting boundaries that reflect that. When you hold yourself to high standards, others will naturally follow suit. This means showing up for yourself, being accountable for your actions, staying true to your word, and continuously striving to be a better version of yourself. It also means removing toxic habits like making excuses, laziness, or being emotionally reactive, which can erode the respect others have for you and that you have for yourself. The way you treat yourself sets the tone for how others will treat you. Respect isn't about seeking approval from others or trying to impress. It's about standing firm in your values even when it's difficult. It's about showing kindness, even in challenging moments, and demonstrating strength by staying calm under pressure. When people see that you are consistent, reliable, and grounded, they naturally feel compelled to respect you. As the Stoics often remind us, we cannot control others, only ourselves. True respect is born from the way we respond to the world, not from the approval or validation of those around us. In modern life, respect is often overlooked in favor of quick success, power, or recognition. But those who truly earn respect are the ones who lift others up, who are fair and honest, and who handle adversity with grace. Think about the people you respect most. Chances are, they aren't the loudest in the room or the ones constantly seeking attention. They are the ones who lead by example, who stay humble in their successes, and who take responsibility when things go wrong. They embody the quiet strength that Stoic philosophy teaches, remaining steady in both triumph and failure, and showing resilience in the face of life's inevitable challenges. So, the real question is, how do you want to be remembered? As someone who demanded respect but never earned it, or as someone who quietly commanded it through their actions? The path to respect isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. Start by looking inward, refining your habits, and living with the kind of integrity that naturally draws respect from others. In the end, it's not about how much respect you receive, but about the legacy of character, discipline, and kindness you leave behind. As we've explored today, respect is something that cannot be demanded. It's something you must earn through self-discipline, integrity, and mindful living. The 6 toxic habits we've discussed, whether it's making excuses, being lazy, losing control of your emotions, or taking credit for others' work, are behaviors that quietly erode the respect others have for you, and more importantly, the respect you have for yourself. But the empowering truth is that you have the ability to change. You are not stuck with these habits. You can remove them from your life step by step. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Every time you choose to take responsibility instead of making an excuse, every time you decide to control your emotions instead of letting them control you, and every time you show respect for the boundaries and contributions of others, you're building the foundation for respect that lasts. Think about the people in your life whom you truly admire. Chances are they aren't perfect, but they are consistent, responsible, and they handle pressure with grace. They don't blame others when things go wrong, and they don't crumble when faced with challenges. They lead with quiet strength and self-awareness. If you want to command respect in your life, start by respecting yourself enough to eliminate the habits that are holding you back from reaching your full potential. So as we wrap up, I encourage you to take a moment to reflect. Which of these habits resonates with you? Which one do you think has been silently undermining your success and relationships? And what steps will you take today to start changing that? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Let's support each other in this journey of growth and self-improvement. At Stoic in Your Life, we believe that true strength and respect come from within, and by applying these principles to your daily life, you will not only earn the respect of others, but also find deeper happiness and personal fulfillment. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and let's continue this journey of self-mastery together.